Welcome back with another life lesson. This is well overdue. Back with my guy,
Well overdue.
Joel Gray, Community Outreach Manager for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Welcome.
What's up, bro?
My
Appreciate you
guy.
having me back.
Man, we go way back, don't we?
Way back, Joe. Back to high school, Churchill. Shout out to all the people that live in Churchill.
We went to Woodland Hills together. I think we met in the cafeteria, I believe.
Bro, I'm pretty sure it was at the bus stop.
At the bus stop.
I think at the bus stop was the awkward, like, who's this?
Yeah.
Dude? And then the caf.
Now,
We really connected.
10 years later, man, still friends. So, Joel, native of Pittsburgh. We both went to Woodland Hills High School.
What do you have?
Currently works for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And welcome. Today we are talking about sports and the community. So, myself, I work for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Joel works for the Pittsburgh Pirates. We went to high school together, and I really just think this is a cool opportunity just to talk about professional sports for everybody who is interested in professional sports. So first, Joel, why are you passionate about sports?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, thank you. Yes, this is a long time coming. I think sports is just such a unifier, right? I've heard that for a long time, but I started in sports at 14 years old in being a ball boy for the Steelers. And like just from that young age, I've really seen all different walks of life, economic backgrounds, race, sex, all that just come together and cheer for one team, one cause. That's powerful to be a part of. So I think that's where that passion comes in. And then dive into the athlete stories themselves. You got a lot of different stories. I can say one that kind of hit me and kind of can coin this a little bit. I forgot what Olympics it was, but I was watching a story of somebody that was from Africa, and they literally ran on a clay track to make it to the Olympics. And to think the power of a sport can take you from the quote unquote slums of an area and put you on a mega stage of attention. Bro, I can't think of another industry that's like that.
That's awesome, man. So let's talk a little bit about your journey, because I know back in the day, you were working in sports before I even thought about working in sports. So you were a ball boy for the Steelers. So how was that, man?
Yeah, I was blessed before I went to Woodland Hills. I went to Pittsburgh Public Schools, and we were in the magnet program. So we went with some people. My family and I went with folks that were pretty plugged into the city. And I overheard a conversation talking about Randall's football gloves. I'm like, what? Antoine Randall, this is fresh off the Steelers. I forgot which Super Bowl it was, but like it was really hot topic. And from there, me and my dad just really worked to get me into the Steelers. So I would say the experience was maybe my first 3 days I was a super fan. But it took like Mike Tomlin, Troy Polamalu, Willie Parker, Hines Ward to really like just see me like, hey man, what's your name? I'm Hines, I'm Troy, what's your name? That I was like, wow, these people see me. Yes, they might be top athletes, but at age 14 to be working alongside some of these iconic players, not only just in football or in Pittsburgh, but globally, that was just such a humbling moment. And then you guys used to make fun of me when I used to be the ball boy on the away sideline, so on Monday night football games.
And we would see you on TV.
A camera shot. So again, those were powerful things that I felt like once I walked through the door, I was just living life normally. But it wasn't until I hung out with people and they started telling me how powerful that was for them and how inspirational it was, where I was like, wow, there's actually something here that I need to leverage a little bit more. Fun in the job, there's aspects of it that are fun, but then there's some that's not, like laundry. Or scrubbing the footballs or whatever.
Dirty work, nobody sees.
Dirty work behind the scenes, but it's all worth it at the end of the day.
And at the end of the day, you get to put this on your resume as well. And that's
forever memories.
Yep.
Forever memories.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
So you went through Woodland Hills High School and you ended up at Robert Morris. Were you active on campus? What was your major? How was that school?
Yeah, so being that I was at the Steelers, I really wanted to stay in sport and figure out what that means. So I would ask a lot of questions with the different professionals, like where they went to school. And I say that because I was thinking about going to either HBCU or going to Temple, just to get out the city, right? I feel like everybody, when they grow up, they want to leave where they came from. But a lot of the feedback I was getting when I was talking to schools is like, if you're in with a pro team already, stay local. So Robert Morris was just such a great hit because it's a small school, but then their alumni base in the sports world was crazy. Like it was like they were pretty plugged in. And so I took that knowledge of, all right, I'm gonna be on a small campus, let me make the most out of this. So I was super involved to a point that me and the president of the university were in like first name basis. But that's not to be arrogant about, it's just saying that how much of an opportunity I saw it was to know my counselors, my advisors, any of the people that run the school. That way, I can learn and really utilize that small campus feel to my advantage. And so while I was in school, I was working with the Steelers in their marketing department. Then I started working for the Pirates at the same time. And then to get a check, I was the equipment manager of the football and all their sports teams. So again, staying relevant is what I did in college. And then also staying connected to the pro sports teams.
All that experience is good.
It was.
And my biggest thing is, we're going to college and we're paying for it, so you might as well get all the resources that you can.
To the max. And I'm gonna echo that a little bit harder. It's I feel like people feel getting tutored or going to meet with a professor, only a certain type of body of people do that. But honestly, those are the best conversations and best moments because those people are, like you just said, you pay for that time, right? And these people, you don't know who they might know and how they can kind of shape your career. So yes, I agree with you, bro. If you're paying money to go to school, use it to its max.
Absolutely.
Use it to its max.
Were you networking at all when you were in college?
Most definitely.
And how did that kind of help you along the way?
Yeah, so one of my mentors, he was an assistant dean of the School of Information and Technology. He's no longer with us. His name was Dr. Rex Crawley. And I used to go to Rex all the time to just chop it up with him. And I was telling him I wanted to do an accelerated MBA program. And it took that networking piece of me getting to know him and really staying consistent with him and who he was as a person, that he basically sat me down and was like, look, MBA, unless you're actually going to do something with it, it's almost useless, right? The new thing is technology, and if you can get a master's in technology, you actually have a leg up on a lot of people. And so I'm happy I took that advice. And I went for my master's in information technology there. I think that is a great example of the networks that I had, whether it be professors or any sports professionals. I stayed in contact with everybody that I knew at the Steelers. Even at the Pirates, his name was Chaz Kellum. He was my former boss. I brought me in. The first year he called me, I already was working with the Steelers, and I just stayed in communication. So the next year, I kind of followed up with him, and that's how I got in with the Pirates. So networking, the biggest thing I can say about that, it's great to meet a person, but the follow-up is so key,
crucial,
so key. And don't be annoying with the follow-up, but make it super intentional, so that people understand what you're about, and that they can look to you for any point after that.
That's huge, man. Huge.
Yeah.
Kind of want to hop into the community outreach type thing, because I know there's a lot of people out there who do want to work in sports, and there's so many alleys that you can go down. You can go sport management, you could be a coach, you could be an athletic director, you could work in marketing, community outreach.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about community outreach and what kind of that takes a little bit.
Yeah, so what I would encourage anybody, if you're studying sports management, and I used to hear this a lot, it used to bug me, but I get it now. Always people wanted to know, why do you want to work in sports and what is your niche, right? You can't say I want to work in sports because you love it. Everybody loves working in sports, right? You really got to figure out what can you bring to it. So when I worked with the Pirates, I realized that the work I was doing at the Steelers, yes, it was in marketing, but it was kind of like the same function, just titled differently, right? And so the work of community outreach is that you're taking your brand or an idea or a concept given to you by the players, coaches, ownership, and really try to make that work in your market, right? And so for us, my job is to make sure the Pirates brand is strong out there. Are we in the right conversations when it comes to different community happenings, right? Like most recently, all this social injustice stuff. What role are we playing in that? Or if a player comes to me and say, hey, I'm really passionate about making sure kids in foster homes understands my story and hears my story because I can connect to them. So it's my job to help make that connection. So to coin it, it's just you have these big industries who have a lot of money that sometimes for years past they didn't care about the communities and how they affected them or the influence that they had on them. And so our job is to help them understand that and then also use it in a wise way to bring community and business together.
And that's so huge because I think a lot of people look towards professional sports and at the end of the day, and it's so important that we have to be good in the community and really represent our city the right way. You know what I mean? So
because if you don't get ahead of it, if you're not proactive, you don't find yourself always responsive. And so I think a good community relations practice is always be proactive and never be on the responsive end of it, because that just gives more headaches and more of a hassle.
So what do you enjoy most about it, being in community outreach?
I feel like, one, I should take it up a little higher. One thing about sports, I never really feel like I work. And then
you're passionate about it.
Right, I'm very passionate about it.
In a job.
Yeah. And then in community, I really get to connect with people on another level. I feel like a lot of times, like if you're in sports sales, somebody probably don't want to talk to you because they feel like you're about to sell them something, right? I feel like when I meet with the community, it's literally a conversation. Yes, we might be both looking to come together on a program, but at first it's just like I want to get to know you type of conversation, and I think that's cool that I can, because that's who I am as a person. I want to know people and then honestly allow God to show me how we can continue to build together on this earth. And I feel like working in community relations allows me to do that from our brand's perspective, from the team's perspective, from stuff I'm pursuing perspective. And that's something I really enjoy about it, is how much I get to know from quote unquote the lowest man on the totem pole to the person that owns the company. You know what I'm saying? Huge.
And I know when I first started out, I didn't know exactly which direction I was going, and I kind of just found my way. There's things that I tried that I didn't like, and that's okay.
I know that you said that I was early in sports, but when you start noticing that avenue was even doable, I applaud you for going at it. Like, I might have told you here and there what to do, but you literally took the reins yourself and said, look, Mike, I want to work in football, help me out. And you really allow that to leverage at a point where you were in PR, and then, you were doing stuff in marketing, and now you're running youth baseball. Youth football. So like that drive alone, bro, I think that a lot of people need to leverage that. Is that, because like that's what I did. When I found out ball boy was an opportunity, boom. Once I got in, and I was like, oh, I can be a front office, something. Like I just was like, all right, it might be 20 things I have to do before I get there, but I understand that the end goal is getting what I think that always pausing and taking each one of those experiences and utilizing where you're at right now to the max will make way for what's to come.
Absolutely. Another big thing for me was, we only have 3 professional sport teams in Pittsburgh, so I'm thinking I either got to make it with the Pirates, the Steelers, or the Penguins. There's no other option. I don't want to do anything else but work in sports. So that drive, that's where my drive came from.
Yeah, because at once, weren't you working for all 3?
I was. Part-time. I had 4 part-time jobs at one point. I was doing those 3 jobs, and then I was working at UPMC on the side. Just every day. Every day is a competition. Every day is an audition. So you really got to find something to separate yourself from everybody else, especially in sports. For students out there, what advice would you give for working in the sports industry?
One, I need y'all to understand that like sports is definitely, I think has been looked at as like a Goliath, like, oh my God, I can't take this on. But I need y'all to understand we need youth for it to be successful. Esports, all that I think are innovations of the game, right? But I feel like with everything happening with COVID, even before COVID, the way that the game's consumed now is so different. And so as a student, I want y'all to start looking at the game from how will my generation consume this sport moving forward? Because like we're in a conversation now that we don't know if we'll ever have season ticket holders anymore. Meaning like nobody's gonna hold a package that's 80 games because we consume games differently. We can get on our phones, we can watch it at home, you know what I'm saying? Or when we come there, we wanna gather and not sit in a seat. So I would really challenge students that, study the game from the lens of a business person and not as a fan, right? Especially if you want to come into the industry. Because once you get that first interview, you can say, hey, my name is such and such, this is my background, but this is what I think I can add to our industry. Game changer, So just definitely start thinking about sports as a business person and think about the new opportunities for global connection, right? I think you're seeing leagues going more international than normal, and with soccer trying to come into our market, that's going to be the next big wave, I believe. So start thinking of that as well.
Absolutely. I think one key I can give is certainly, working in sports is certainly not a 9 to 5. Can definitely tell you that. You're going to lose some sleep if you're going to work in sports, especially during your busiest time of the season. But if it's really something that you truly love, you're not really worried about the hours.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think we could both say at the end of the day that we love what we do.
For sure.
Working in sports. We're from here. We went to Woodland Hills High School. We're from Pittsburgh. So it just feels good to do stuff here in our community and keep building and making our organizations better.
Hopefully. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman, but you got to see him at a practice, right?
Yeah.
But how many people can say, I saw Black Panther right then and there? So there's definitely a lot of different perks to it that is enjoyable. And if you need that to be like a motivation for you, let that be a motivation.
Absolutely. I do want to mention 2 things for everybody who is interested in working in sports. 2 websites that have been helping me over time. The first one is Teamwork Online.
Huge.
And that's where teams, if there are openings, they'll post it on that website. So I would highly suggest checking that site out. Did you use that site at all throughout college?
I did, and luckily RMU has a relationship with the lady that runs it, so I got to meet the creator of Teamwork. But her whole intention is what you said, network and follow up, right? And she uses her network to pull from all industries on availability. So I have my eye on that a lot. I still do.
Yep.
Why not?
There's a lot of teams out there.
Yeah.
Professional, college, high school.
Yep.
There's so many levels to it.
Let's note that a little bit. And even if you're planning to get to pro sports and the opportunities are few and far between, don't feel like you can't learn the same experience at a collegiate level or a high school level. Honestly, any experience in sport can be translated, vice versa. The only thing that might be different is the budget that you're working with. But honestly, the involvement, the impact, it's all the same, I think, at every level. So just keep that in mind.
Tremendous impact. Tremendous. The second site that I do want to bring up is called Sports Career Finder. So if you guys are interested in sports, but you don't really know what you want to do exactly, I would highly suggest checking out that website. It kind of breaks down what each industry is, what line of business. So if you're interested in marketing, it'll kind of give you a description of what marketing is.
Wow.
If you want to be an athletic director, it kind of breaks down what the duties are of an athletic director. That kind of helped me throughout college because, sports management is so broad.
It is.
So really I had to find what I love and then find what that role is and then go after it.
Yeah, I never knew about that website, so
there you go.
maybe I
got you, big dog. I got you.
That's not now.
All right, let's talk about one more thing, man. You got a non-profit, Africa Book Bagz. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so this is a personal, I would say, purpose move, right? I feel like you always got to move with purpose. And so long story short, and I think it was 2015, I got an opportunity to go on a mission trip over to Kenya, and Africa Book Bagz is the nonprofit that helped fund that trip for me. And so awesome experience, and when I got back, I just wanted to help the ladies out that founded the nonprofit. Fast forward to 2018, they were basically trying to restructure and figure out what's next, and then they asked me if I wanted to be the director of the nonprofit ministry. Prayed on it, thought on it, and now I do that. So basically, our nonprofit is, we really want kids to see what they got wherever they live, and we really want them to feel empowered to pursue their dreams of whatever function that might mean, and we do that through the ministry of Jesus Christ. So here in the city, we have some nonprofit partners that we meet with kids and just talk to them and shine light on Africa and educate them on what does Africa look like. Like, tell us your perspective of that. We'll tell you what the truths are, and then how is your community similar to theirs? So I think that allows the exposure, because I'm a huge person on exposure, to let them look at their neighborhood from a different lens. That way they can start seeing how they can plug in as leaders in their space, right? And then vice versa, when I was over in Kenya, I was challenging youth, like, how do you see America, you know? And really giving that same exact conversation that, look, man, young girl, young boy, you have so much beauty here. You can be a game changer here. So be in prayer with us about that. We're always looking to continue to grow our youth pool. You can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, but visit our website, Africa Book Bagz, and that's what is z.org, and start following our journey. And if you ever feel like you can support us, you can email us at joinafricabookbags with a Z at gmail.com. So
let's talk about a few quick stories real quick.
Okay.
So when you were a ball boy,
Yep.
I used to get my football gloves from him. And when I went to Woodland Hills, we played Penn Hills in a playoff game, I believe. And I think I caught like a 25, 30-yard post right down the middle. Caught it over top of the safety, and somebody got that snapshot of me wearing those gloves that you gave me. And I think that's honestly how I got into Tiffany University, bro.
Crazy,
So
bro.
I appreciate those.
That's deep.
Appreciate those.
And I was in the fan section going, hell, like, let's go!
Missed those games.
Always a fan, bro. Always.
So yeah, look out for us. We'll be doing a whole lot in the community, so
Sure.
we're going to keep at it. And if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to reach out. You want to shout out your social media or anything?
Yeah, I just got back on IG.
Welcome back.
It's
Welcome
One
back.
Shot Lens.
All right, brother. I appreciate it, man. That's a wrap. Another life lesson, sports in the community. Appreciate you guys tuning in. One more time.
You stupid.